Okay, last video of the site. Let's do things that we need to complete this. Again, I'm not entering into some details that if you're interested, you can do the windows here, and you can always adjust the doors for the opening in the center, etc. So I'm going to leave those if you're interested to you. I'm going to deal with floor condition and a little of the structure, so we learn those things as well. We go to level 1. I'm going to create a grid. And I'm going to place the grid on interior. Well, I can put it actually in the center of the wall, going up. So that's where a line of structure is going to be located. So take it down. There you go. And I'm going to name that as actually like because typically the vertical grids have a different numbering condition. By the way, you will have 1, 2, 3, not 1, 3. It will be in that particular order. And I'm going to select that one and do a 0 DM and use the middle point here. And okay, so that's that. We're going to be placing trusses, from the third on to the last ones. But I want to do a little bit of the floor right now because again we have brass in the interior, which doesn't make any sense. We need to do two things. First, edit the profile, edit the sketch of the topo solid. There's the surface of the terrain, and create a rectangle from the exterior. That's going to create like a void or an opening in the earth. That's good. And we're also going to create a floor. Okay, we can just do the generic and then change the material when we need to. Another rectangle and the same kind of rectangle as the previous. Say okay. And we can take a look at the section to see how that looks. We'll notice how, this is the topo surface that comes at this level, and then it starts the wall. You can select that and highlight it and see it. So now if we go to the perspective, that's a floor that we can potentially change materials and so on. It's looking much better. Okay, so now we have the structure under level 1. What I'm going to do is just load well, actually, you should probably take a look and see if you have any columns under the structure. You can also go to architecture and do columns. The first one is the structural column is the same. And see if you have any of these W-shaped columns. If you do not, what you should do is go as well to insert, load out of this family, go back to all of the results, go down to structural columns and select the W options under metal, steel, and here you have many types, HPs and so on. W, right here, W white range columns, and you can select that and select the number of options. I already have some of those, so you will go to the column structural. I'm going to select this 10 by 49, and columns need to be placed in the, well, they don't need to, but ideally they're in a midpoint between 2 grids. So that would be the place. But before you place anything, you should just consider that you have to do it from the level 1, setting the height to the roof. That's quite important. And then you can place 1, or you can just say, listen, I want to use add grids and all of them at the same time. Say finish. Escape to not place anymore. You're not going to really see, well, you see them popping up there. We have to adjust that. You say WF or wireframe. See how they're in the middle point. Those, and then HL hidden line. It's again the same as going to wireframe and hidden line here. Okay, so I think again it would be good to go to the section to see what's going on. They're popping up in the back. If you don't see them, that's because the different ways of seeing the level of detail drawings are set to coarse. If you set minimum, you can see the layers of the rows, the details of the structures, and that goes for also the plans. Now, if you zoom in, you can see like very simple lines defining the column, but if you go to medium, you can start seeing the whole set of details about it, the layers of the walls, etc., etc. Yeah. Set it to coarse because it doesn't take so much information. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just build this one here, and I'm going to do columns here and on. So to do a solid column trusses, we're going to do structure, truss, and it says, well, you don't have any trusses. Okay, so we need to load them the same way as we've been loading things around. Load out of disk families, and you're going to go to truss systems under structures here. And then we're going to use probably the whole gallo truss date panel. Load it. And then when you go to architecture, structure, trusses, then it will be placed here. It's an option. The way you allocate this is you need to say in what level you want it to be. So probably instead of trying to place it blindly, just I'm going to escape that. You go to the roof level and do truss from that level. So the level that the truss is going to be placed is there. Okay, I'm going to do from this point, which is this meeting point of the grid. Click once, click twice. Okay, so when you move again the section, again, if we are on the course, we don't see the details, but if we go to the medium or fine, you will see everything. I can go to the section and see what happened there. And notice how obviously there's some issues going on with this. So we're going to do a couple of adjustments. To select the truss, you select the grid set of lines or dash lines, and it should say here structural truss system, and then we're going to do a -3. I think that's what pretty much works. Imagine you have one tilted truss, which happens in many projects. So, but in our case, we just want to lower the truss equally in both sides. So, and then the maximum, I'm going to set it here to, I think, 16 and 6 inches more or less. Go up there. Okay. So there's a little offset there, but I think we can work with that. And we definitely need to take those columns down, also -3. So I'm going to go to the 3D, and I'm going to pretty much select, whoops, let me Control-C that. Select everything from the project. Use the filter option here to check none and say, I only want the structural columns. Select only the structural columns, and then I can do the top offset to come down -3 as well. Okay, so they'll come down right underneath the trusses. So in this sense, now we can come down to the interior, and we don't really see the columns there inside. And we definitely don't see the trusses because we haven't copied them. So now we need to go to the roof level where we see the truss, select the truss from this level and CO, copy, or do an array one after the other one. I don't think we're placing the first two just because it's not really calculated for it. So I'm gonna delete those, go back to the interior and just see the thing. That's what it is. I think we can work with that. Ideally, we'll have the openings here similarly. It would be fantastic if that could be done. There's probably many more things in the project that we can't get into, but imagine just adding different layers and different type of components that are going to make this look more detailed. You don't necessarily have to do that, but just imagine if it was a final capstone or something, how you could add more detail as you see fit. So obviously we can turn on the shadows. Shadows are correct because we set the site organization. The floors can be changed already. Trusses, window panels can be changed from the material of the glass and the mullions or carpentry. There's a bunch of things that can be done. You can also set already a tone for the renderings by, setting the very simple parameters from the Revit platform, we'll see later on. And under the sections, and we will see that when the next phase of videos come in, we can start using what is the VV shortcut, visibility and graphics, or VG, and set how we see the walls being cut. For example, if we go to W, we can set the patterns of the cut of the walls to be fill and black, for example, just as an idea. And again, that will set the cut patterns to black. So when you say okay, then you will see those. You could theoretically do visibility and graphics and do the same for roofs. So you go to the roof options, change the patterns of the cut. These are not require the color, but I think it will clear and make things much cleaner as a layout organization. In theory, if you do it for the windows, but I don't think it's that necessary, you can do that. Another thing, it's probably the floors, which is the base floor. You can set that to be also black fill. Okay. And the top of solid, you could do potentially the same thing. So just set it to black. And that creates that kind of a weird thing, but you can always change that if you select the top of solid, edit the type, and change here the layering condition. You can say preview the number of layers that it has, and then the bottom one, which is the earth, you can just set that to 10 feet down or something like that, and it will create that condition coming down. It's kind of a weird because this doesn't come out, so I'm just going to Control C that and leave it as a clean thing. Obviously, we can place other elements. If you go to components, typically you have trees around that you can organize and just start placing them where they belong in the site. So I've noticed that in the map, there's a number of trees on this side. So maybe you want to incorporate some of those. So when you do renderings in the future, you can see those in the background. And we don't really need to do that now, but if you actually do that, just place a number of trees and change the type of trees if you know which ones they are. When you go to the views, you'll definitely see them in the background, no? Which will add to the renderings later on. I don't think it's something we should be concerned about right now. Anyway, this is the site. I think it looks good and it's a great potential space to do the things that we can do with the models that we're generating right now. Okay, so site is done with this.